I want to get into the boxing thing with Josh. So for those of our people who don't know, how'd that whole opportunity come about?
Cooper Marsh, Josh's manager, now also my current manager, called me up. It would have been 2021 Valentine's Day. We're in Hawaii. My wife and I are on vacation. And he texts me. I don't know how he got my number. Here we are. And he goes, hey, I got a random opportunity. Cooper Marsh, who I knew who he was. He goes, I got a random opportunity. You should call me. When you get that text message, you call that person because Lord knows you don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be good or a good story for later. So I call Cooper up. He tells me, hey, we had Josh lined up to possibly box Dave. As I don't think it's something for charity, more than likely. He goes, but Dave pulled out for various reasons. I mean, it was a lose-lose for Dave. Dave was going to probably get beat up and no one was going to be Team Dave. Like, no,
Right.
it was just going to be a lose-lose. So he pulled out for his own reasons. And they were like, you essentially got 6 to 7 months. You'll make money. We actually now have a card to put you on. Would you be interested? And I said, okay, well, I got to talk to my boss, meaning my wife, and see what she says. So I walked in and he gave me kind of a concept of what I might make because I was still thinking about competing in CrossFit. So I'm thinking, okay, this money has to overcome the fact that I'm going to compete in CrossFit because I can't do both. I can't do two good things at one time. I got to pick and choose. So I walk in and I say, hey, Kelly, I got a call. I don't know. It's weird trying to bring up your wife. Like, how would you feel about me boxing Josh Bridges? And she's like, probably think I'm sleepwalking or something. And at first she's like, that is so stupid. You're going to get hurt. And I said, this is how much I could make. And she goes, yeah. So when do you sign the contract?
Yes.
And I was like, at that point, I called my insurance guy up and I said, you need to raise my life insurance policy quickly. She might try to murder me. But yeah, so we signed, I first called Cooper back. I said, hey, game on. I got to find a coach. And the rest is history. I didn't lift a barbell for like 6 weeks. 6 months. I pretty much only boxed exclusively for 6 months. And they moved the venue from, it was going to be in Vegas, but because didn't have an amateur's card, we couldn't be on a card. They moved from Vegas to Florida. And then from Florida, because of COVID, they moved to Dubai. Dubai didn't have as stringent of COVID rules. And so we boxed in Dubai in September of 2021.
Did you win that fight?
Unanimous.
Nice. I figured you did. I didn't know. Okay.
Yep.
So had you had any experience with
no combat, no one-on-one, no singular. I'd always played team sports. So I'd not done combat sports, no wrestling, no nothing. I remember we were in July or August of 2021 at the CrossFit Games. I wasn't competing, but I was there for Olivia. And Dave pulled me aside and he goes, man, Josh is going to like a couple of words in there. Like he's going to beat the living tarnation out of you. I'm like, all right, Dave, we about to see people voted against me in the past before, Dave. And so we got in that rate. It was a good time. Again, Josh and I had been friends forever. This definitely brought us together. The funny story I do tell is we're in Dubai and we both brought our own camps with us, coaches and significant others and, team, whatever. And so they're in Dubai. So those people, when they're not training us, they're going off and experiencing Dubai things. Well, me and Josh are not doing that. We're resting up. And so they put all the fighters in the same hotel usually. And so there's only one place to eat and it's only open like for an hour or whatever. And so it always comes out that usually Josh and I would have breakfast together. Like, because they're on in other time zones, they go off and go do things. And me and Josh would just sit at a table and have breakfast and just talk. And the fight coordinator walked in one morning, morning of the fight, I think. And everyone's gone doing something else. And me and Josh are hanging out. And he walks in and I'm pouring Josh water. Like I'm being a chivalrous guy pouring him water. And the guy walks in and he's pissed. He's like, are you guys actually going to fight tonight? Like what? Like you're pouring him his water. Calls us a couple of bad words. And me and Josh were like, yeah, we got no problem hitting each other. But like, I'm not going to hit. We're just hanging out right now. So, but yeah, it was a really good time. It was, Josh obviously had background in wrestling and has probably done his own striking from being a part of the SEALs at one time. I had not had that experience, but it was single-handedly, I learned more about myself in 6 months and also inside of 6 3-minute rounds than I had ever done from CrossFit. It was the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life, but I learned more about myself doing that than years of taking the floor in terms of CrossFit because you were completely outside of your comfort zone.
What'd you learn?
It was a lot of self-doubt, right? You tend to learn like in CrossFit, I failed in front of people. I, was a thick and quick. I fell from that rope and thick and quick multiple times and couldn't climb a freaking rope to save my life back in that workout. And so you learn a lot about yourself. But when you fail and cross it, whether it be a lift, which I've done a lot of, or a movement or whatever, you get a no rep, you just keep going, right? Or you're resting. There's nothing bad about that. In terms of boxing, like you quickly learned, like, man, if I fail, I'm gonna get the crap beat out of me. I might get something broken. If I do something wrong, I might get injured. You could make the argument that could back into CrossFit, that's less likely. A lot of self doubt that I had to come through in terms of like, do I want to do this? Is this worth it? Is this for me? And mainly stepping outside of your comfort zone. People always talk about it, and I had before this of like, hey, you step outside your comfort zone, you go out there in front of people and you compete. But in actuality, at some point, if you go compete in front of people for CrossFit, that is your comfort zone. You're okay stepping out there and failing in front of people because that's what you're used to. And so me saying, I am going to go do something that I have never done in my life, that I might get injured, and then I might lose in front of thousands of people on paid television for it. I have to be okay with that. And it was a good learning process to to truly step outside and say, I'm going to learn something new and I'm going to start from square one. At the same time, I was learning how to shoot. And so it was also like I was learning two different things at one time. And it's kind of difficult, but I learned to laugh from that. I wouldn't go back and probably do it again. Like if you asked me to box right now, I wouldn't go do it, but it was a very cool experience. And I think if anyone gets that opportunity to try a different sport, whether it be jujitsu, competing in that, or boxing or whatever, wrestling, that's a great skill, man. It's a great skill to learn and also teaches you a lot about yourself pretty quickly.